listening to Reignite, a podcast about how our decisions can bite us on the ass. I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
After a heated discussion, we agreed that we would first go to Redcliffe and Arl Eamon. So much happens that to summarize it all would be a podcast in itself, so here are the highlights. Alistair's father was King Merrick, which means he has a tenuous but valid claim on the throne, which he doesn't want. Mysterious evil plagues the village from the castle. Ban Tegan enlists us to keep the village safe, and then to sneak into the castle. We learn that Arl Eamon's son, Connor, is a mage and summoned a demon to try and cure his poisoned father. The demon now controls Connor and is responsible for all the horrible things that have happened. The warden is faced with choice: use blood magic to save Connor, or find some other way.
Yeah, and that's not even everything.
It's not even everything. I started to write everything that happened, and I was approaching a full page, and I was like, I can't do this. This is so much.
Yeah, it's a lot. This is one of the meatier missions, and this is going to be a common, I don't want to say problem in Dragon Age, but there's something about the episodic nature of Mass Effect's, most of Mass Effect's missions, excluding Andromeda, that Dragon Age just doesn't do it all. Dragon Age is very much like, you're just going to go through this fantasy world and play for 4 hours in this one place if you want, which is fine. It definitely is part of the challenge of why the season may end up mostly being me and Frankie, just because we have no idea how to pull people in for segments, because there aren't really segments.
Yeah, it's a rough time.
But before all of that, we get to do some people's favorite section. We haven't had them in a long time. You know them, you love them. We've got some check-ins this episode to check in with our party, because you can camp in this game and go buy supplies. You know, you can interact with your teammates. There's even a mission that we'll get through there that we're going to do much later. All sorts of good, fun stuff. And so, Commander Nikki, if you're still listening, which I hope you are, here's your favorite part. Let's go.
All right, so here's the thing about check-ins in the party camp. One, what information is available to you is based on how well the people like you.
Correct.
And two, you can talk to them repeatedly to get all the information. So, there is no, we talk once, and then you're done talking to me. There's, I talk to you until I'm done talking to you.
Yeah.
Until I have sucked all the information out of you. But that's also because this is our first time stopping in camp. So, this is our first time asking Alistair about the wardens. This is our first time asking Alistair about Duncan. Yeah. So, we have these kind of circular talking points that we can always return to, but new ones do appear. And then there's the approval-disapproval system. I have encountered it during Redcliffe.
Yeah,
because
same.
I brought Liliana and Sten, and they were not happy with many of my choices.
Oh, yeah, we should talk about who we brought. So I brought...
Well, we're not there yet.
Oh, yeah, I guess we'll circle back. But yeah, so the approval and the disapproval system, just to be aware, also in this game, I'm not sure in the other games, but in this game, the only people who approve and disapprove are the ones with you. I believe in Inquisition, you can get that from across the board, but I don't remember.
There are some instances where no matter what, even if the person isn't with you, they're going to disapprove. There's a thing with Wynn where if you do a certain thing, she will leave you no matter what.
Got it. But for the most part, the disapproval-approval system only happens to the party members with you.
And it can be influenced.
Yes, you can, I believe, give gifts and some other things that allow you to sway them back towards you. Lots of dog treats for your dog.
The dog, you never have to do anything
Yeah,
with.
he always
approves
approves
is just
you.
I love you.
Yeah, he approves of you all the time. And I know we have Alistair first in our check-in list, but I do have to say the dog check-ins are my favorite, because
check-ins are good.
You can just run through them because they're all pretty quick, and it's like Alistair almost getting his hand bitten off by the dog because he tries to take his food. And say it's just these goofy little things. It's Sten and the dog growling at each other, and then Sten... And if you let it go, Sten just approves of the dog and says he's a true warrior. It's It's great. They're great.
It is really good. Then there's also the dog in Liliana, I think.
Yes.
And the dog in Morgan.
Yeah.
I have to jump to the dog because you skipped Alistair. So
I
have a whole page of notes on Alistair. So yes, we have Alistair teasing the dog. We have Morgan getting gifts from the dog, which How come I don't get gifts? How come you're not sharing your food with me?
I know, it's very sad. Morgan got a half-eaten rabbit and was not happy about it.
Sten and Bark Ruffalo having a snarling conversation. Oh no, there wasn't anything with Liliana.
No.
I thought there was.
They have some dialogue together, but
and you can pet your dog.
And you can pet your dog. Yeah, after you exhaust all of the check-in options with the dog, you can then just pet him, and he rolls around on the ground, and it's generally cute.
Very cute. Oh, there is an extra one with Alistair where he's teasing the dog about, like, I heard that Ash warriors feed their dogs the flesh of their enemies, sometimes humans, and your dog is like, ah!
And you can tell him to stop torturing your dog.
Why would you do that to me?
Yeah, the dog gets like all upset and starts to whimper. It's very funny.
Poor puppy. Once we go to camp, we actually have a cutscene where we see the archdemon, the dragon, commanding the horde.
Yep.
And we wake up to Alistair being like, oh, dreams, huh? Like,
Like, I knew this was coming, and I was just going to wait instead of telling you about it. Thanks, Alistair.
Yeah. Alistair reveals that part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the Darkspawn. The Archdemon talks to the Horde, and the Grey Wardens feel it like they do, which is how they can confirm that there's a blight, because they can feel the Archdemon.
Yeah. He also mentions that some wardens, as time passes, can even sort of understand the archdemon and understand the conversations, but it's okay if it's all muddled right now, because that's typically how it is for most.
And I just love that your dog is barking in the background.
The whole time.
The whole time.
It's a very familiar feeling, Frankie, I have to tell you. I know
yeah,
what that's like.
I can imagine. I remember when I lived with the cats?
I do. They often interrupted.
Hera always had something to say. Okay, let's talk about Alistair. He is still beating himself up over grieving. He talks about wanting to have a funeral for Duncan. I don't know about you, but I said that I'd like to go to High Ever with him when he goes.
Yeah, I did too. I also asked, like, what you can ask, like, kind of what is the process, and he's like, I don't know. I've never met other Grey Wardens. I don't.
Yeah.
We're assuming they're out there, but he doesn't actually know what you do.
Oh, for how to make new Grey Wardens?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. He knows what goes into it, but he doesn't know actually how to do it. You can talk to him about Arl Eamon raising him, and he tries to play it off like, did I say that? I said I was raised by dogs. So I lean into that because, you know, he likes to banter, so I banter back.
Of course.
But the truth is, Alistair doesn't know who his father is. He knows what he was told. And Arl Eamon took him under his wing. But the Arlessa, who I come to hate, treated Alistair like shit because there were rumors pegging Alistair as Arl Eamon's son.
Yeah.
Even though that wasn't true.
Yep.
And the Arlessa was, like, resented Alistair. But, like, it's not his fault. You know? Like,
Sure.
It's not Alistair's fault. Even if Arl Eamon was Alistair's father, how does that make it Alistair's fault? And you have to be shitty to a child.
I don't understand, Frankie. Are you bothered by a parental figure blaming a child for something they can't possibly be at fault for?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah, gee.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, gee, I wonder why. It's not like that.
Gee.
You've experienced that in your own life before.
So.
Uh-oh.
Everyone knows my father sucked when he was alive. This is not a secret. When I was born, my father was married to another woman who is not my mother. So my father's wife at the time, when she found out about me, she said some shitty things about me. And that is what made my father decide to leave her.
Wow. I mean, I guess in some way you can say he did truly love you, I guess, if that happened that way.
Yeah, like, she said some, like, really messed up things about me, and he was like, that's my child that you're talking about, so divorce.
You've had a strange life.
Yeah, I have. Every time somebody here in the UK wants to talk about, like, family history, I'm like, all right,
here we go.
Let's get the flowchart out. I'm like, okay, so I have a long lost brother. Actually, I have two.
But yeah, Alistair does share with us. He's a pretty open book. with the lead character. He doesn't really, besides the whole Eamon stuff, which we get more on later. He doesn't really keep things from you. He's our marshmallow. He's this game's marshmallow.
Yeah. We learn his tragic backstory. We learn that because the Arlessa was such a bitch, he got sent to the Chantry.
Yep.
To learn how to be a Templar. And the way that he became a warden, Duncan came through looking for new recruits, and Grand Cleric didn't want to let Alistair go. So Duncan was forced to, like, conscript him and be like, nope, I'm taking the boy. You can't do anything about it. I just wanted to give this boy a big, big hug because he really went through some shit.
He did.
He talks about the Templars, and I get increasingly angry at the Chantry. Like,
yeah, I know.
Deep breath. Deep breath. Flames on the side of my face.
Uh-huh.
So the Chantry recruits young boys and trains them up, gets them addicted to drugs, telling them that the drugs will make them better at the job that they do. But that's not even necessarily true. So they get them addicted to lyrium, teach them how to, like, disrupt magic and various other Templar anti-mage skills, teach them to hate mages and to distrust magic. And it's a school for white supremacy.
I mean, basically.
I hate it. It makes me so angry. And I'm always against the Chantry.
Yes. Although, however, there's stuff with the Templars that we'll talk about later in the season that, like, some of them are still decent people, and I don't know how the hell that happens. But we'll get to that. I know. Even the decent ones are not great. But
the only good cop is the one that leaves, which means Alistair is the only one. Anyway. Alistair left, which means he's the only good Templar.
Yeah. I mean, he's barely a Templar.
Exactly. That is my point. Okay, and then we, like, get some basic info about the Wardens and figure out why it really is just the two of us against the Blight. Everyone's too far away. We don't know the joining ceremony. Like, by the time we get help, it'll be too late. Like, it really is just the two of us.
Yes, and every other Tom, Dick, and Harry that we recruit to be a part of the Templar, part of the Grey Wardens.
For sure. We can talk to Sten. I don't really have a lot on this because he doesn't really like me yet, so he doesn't want to tell me anything.
The best part about the conversation with Sten is that every time you ask him a question, he goes, yes, no.
One word answers only.
Yeah, I mean, and then sometimes you can trick him by annoying him into giving, like, more information, like about the Canary a bit, or like why he's here and things like that. But most of the time, it's still spoken very quickly, and then he's back to one word answers. So yeah.
Like, we learn about the Antam, which is what he's part of. They are the eyes, hands, and mouth of the Canary. They're how the Canary at large learn about the greater world. So they observe. A quote that he had was, "You say hurry where I would say duty," meaning that we're wasting time by talking.
Yeah.
And he values his duty, his honor, above, like, taking time to rest, which is not healthy, Sten.
No, definitely not healthy outlook. Wait, you're saying working all the time and not taking breaks and being overwhelmed and overworked is not a way to live?
Yeah, basically.
I don't understand.
So yeah, not much conversation there. He doesn't like us much yet. A good conversation with Morgan. I love talking to Morgan. It is a shame that she is straight. It makes no sense. Why would you do this to me?
I like Morgan. She's tough to have in your party when you're doing stuff, because she doesn't think before she speaks often, and then you have to react to it. And 9 times out of 10, she does not like my reaction because I try and people please. And she doesn't like pleasing people. She likes pleasing herself.
Right. She didn't grow up with the socialization that we did. Like, We grew up learning that you can't just say anything that comes into your head because you're going to hurt someone's feelings. And hurting someone's feelings is not nice. She never learned that.
No, I understand why. It is just, as the leader, finger quotes, it is difficult to deal with.
Right.
But talking to her in camp is great. We can ask more about her upbringing in Flemeth, and she talks a little bit more about the legends that surrounded her and her mother growing up. And there's a point where like the legend mentions of the witches of the wilds eating children, and you're like, oh my God. I mean, is that true? And she's like, well, I mean, I don't know. My mother lived a long time before me, but as far as I know, the time I've been alive, she's not eaten any children. It's just, she's so matter of fact. It's very funny.
Yeah. I love that her tent is literally as far away from the main fire as you can possibly get.
Yeah, she wants to not be around literally anyone else.
Just fuck all of you. I live over here.
I'm a loner. I'm going to continue to be a loner even with the group.
I get to talk to her about her skill as a shapeshifter.
Yep.
She tells me stories about Flemeth. She can't change into other human forms.
Nope, only animals.
Yeah. Because like there's nothing interesting about other human forms, so like
yeah,
she doesn't care about that. She spent a lot of her time as animals, and I am super jealous. I would so much rather like turn into a crow than be this.
She also talks about, you can ask about like what the other animals think of it, and she said that for the most part they just consider me one of their own. They don't really notice the difference. It's really interesting to talk about the shape-shifting specifically.
Yeah, and she talks about how there are traditions of magic outside the circle of magi, and I'm like, hell yes! And because, like, my backstory is being from the circle of magi, she's like, I'm really surprised that, like, you are completely down for anything that is outside the circle. I was like, fuck the circle.
Yeah.
Fuck the circle. You have no idea, Morgan. Teach me to be like you. I tell her that her abilities are useful, and she makes fun of men who think otherwise. And she agrees to teach me how to be a shapeshifter, so that's something that I can have in the future. I really like making Morgan giggle. It's really cute.
I have yet to do that, but I'll take your word for it.
Let's see. She tells us stories about her childhood, about being hunted by the Chantry, and the tale of Flemeth, which is really interesting because we can get the tale of Flemeth from Leliana as well.
Correct, because Flemeth is like a famous magic user that like legends are told across the land. It's funny, the game does like prepare and show you how important Flemeth is, but if you don't dig for it, Flemeth is just a character you meet once and think doesn't matter until, and we'll get to that. But like, it's very interesting to me that this game does some foreshadowing that I didn't notice the first time through.
Let's see. So Leliana, let's talk about this vision.
And so Liliana is my fave and the one that I've romanced in the past. And so it's funny. I'm able to go into this game unbiased because I've only done this game once before. We're not talking about a Garrus situation here, as it were. Although for you, maybe, it sounds like. But I do like that you can really dig deep with Liliana and talk to her about her religious beliefs and why she really thinks that the Maker has like predestined all of this, and why, you know, it's just, there's a lot of, like, while I don't jive with all religious things, there is a romance to the way she looks at it. There is a sweetness to the way she looks at this and her upbringing, which is interesting to me, especially considering she still had so much hardship and yet still believes so strongly, you know?
When she talks about this vision, it sounds so much less crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's more like a dream that left her with a particular feeling. It's not like she is actually hearing the voice of the Maker. It's no Joan of Arc stuff. It really is, she had this dream and it left her with a particular feeling and she's just following her gut. And that I totally respect.
Totally.
And everything that she talks about is actually really a commentary on self-righteous religious people.
Right. Yeah, she is more someone who it's faith versus belief kind of a thing, and like having faith in herself and the Maker and the people around her. It's more optimism than straight up religion, I think.
Yeah, like she's a Christian that believes trans people deserve rights.
Correct. Correct.
Like, she's a Christian that's like, God truly loves everyone.
If you are listening and you have any artistic skill, please draw Liliana wearing trans rights or human rights t-shirt, please.
Or or just Liliana saying trans rights.
That too. We'll take that. Either of those would be great.
We could put that on a shirt.
We could totally put that on a shirt.
Liliana says trans rights.
Yeah. I'm sure if we could find the voice actress, we could get her to say it for an amount of money, probably, but still. Anyway.
I'm pretty sure she'd say it for free.
That's true.
But you got off my point. My point is that she is someone who believes that the church should open its doors to everyone, literally everyone. If Liliana had her way, there would never be a child coming out who felt like their religious community hated them.
Correct, yeah.
Because to Liliana, like, you are loved no matter what, and I think that's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really have anyone in my life like that when I was interacting with organized religion.
Sure.
So for me, like, this is a unicorn.
Yeah. I mean, it's more common than you think, but you do have to look for it. It's definitely not. It's definitely not common enough that you can stumble into it.
We do find out that she used to be a traveling minstrel in Orlais, so she has lots of stories. But when it comes to her skills in battle, let's talk about something else, shall we?
Yeah. Doesn't really want to go into why and how she knows what she knows.
She's very shifty about it.
Yeah.
We know why.
It's true. We do know why. Though we don't get a lot of that backstory till much later, but still.
Yeah, no. So she tells a story about a lady knight, which was really sad at the end.
Yeah.
We learn her version of Flemeth, which is very different from Morrigan's version, which I find very funny. And I would love to see a conversation between the two of them talking about Flemeth. Yeah.
Since I don't even know that Liliana knows that Morrigan is Flemeth's daughter.
Yeah.
She may not even know.
Like, you can try and tell her, and she'll be like, sounds fake.
Yeah. I don't buy it. Fake news.
Valid?
Yeah, I get it.
Totally valid. Let's see. We also learn we get a Dalish story, we get an Andraste story, and that's really it from her. Are you enjoying your girl?
So far, I mean, I'm not so dialed in yet. I'm trying to stay open-minded.
You're not trying to lock it in too soon?
No.
Okay. And then Bowden, who told us that we were too exciting for him, is here at our camp offering us a discount.
Very exciting.
Sweet man.
I completely forgot that he does join your camp, but of course that makes sense because he's integral to this and the second game. Yes. But him and his young boy, I love asking him for enchantments. He's just so excited to do enchantments.
I love Sandal.
Sandal's the best.
Sandal's great.
You can try and find out his backstory and about their lives, but you need a persuade check to do it. I've so far failed, but I will try again later.
Guess who didn't fail?
Yeah.
'Twas I.
'Twas you.
I got that good charisma.
I mean, I do too. I just forgot to put another point in the thing anyway.
Well, do you want to know, or do you want to wait till you find out?
You can tell it here because I'll hear it eventually.
So Bowden is from Orzammar. He was a merchant. He made a really good living. But one day, this noblewoman came into his shop and started screaming about some bracers that he had available for sale, that they belonged to her brother. Turned out he hired some really shifty folks to go through the old tags, and they brought back some goods looted from bodies, and he didn't know. So he bribed a guard, and he ran topside and never looked back.
Sounds about right.
And brought Sandal with him.
Yep.
But you know what? I'm glad, because now he's in my life, and he's a nice person.
He is. He's a genuinely nice person. He doesn't judge anyone in the camp. He just wants to help you, hook you up with some gear. I did, by the way, spec his ranger during this playthrough. I didn't know you needed the ranger book, and so I got to level 9. I'm like, why can't I pick the specialization? Because some specializations you need documentation for, and someone to teach you. And so I bought the ranger book from him and then became a ranger, which gives me the ability to summon currently now wolves and bears and eventually other stuff. But so now I have two doggos in my party.
I love the ranger specialization. That's a good one.
It's fun.
The cool thing about the arcane combat specialization that I took is that I can now use martial weapons and still use magic.
Yeah.
So now I use a maul.
Nice. Beat them over the head with that magic.
Yes, I do. And it makes me feel really good.
It's good. Amazing.
So it's fantastic. Okay, so who did you bring to Redcliffe with you?
So I brought Morgan and Liliana and Alistair.
Okay, I brought Alistair, Liliana, and Sten. Until I get Severin, Liliana is always going to be in my party.
That's fair. I wanted to make sure that I had some healing, even though Morgan doesn't do a lot of it. It was better than nothing. So
when we arrive in Redcliffe, we get an immediate cutscene between us and Alistair.
yeah, he's got some stuff to tell us.
Yeah. So you know how I was like, I don't know who my dad is, but I know who I was told. It was Merrick, King Kaelin's father.
Yeah.
So, did you tease him about this?
Yes. So I'm going to jump to the end of the conversation. So after you have this discussion about how he actually sort of has a place on the throne, King Kaelin's technically his brother. He's like, but this doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't change anything. And you can say, yes, my liege, or yes, my prince at the end of the conversation. He's like, oh, yeah, I guess that's going to be a thing now, huh? Like he just deflates. It's very funny.
Yeah. He is not happy with you.
But of course I'm going to do it.
I just feel so bad for him. Like, can you imagine? No wonder the Grand Cleric didn't want to let him go, because to her, it was like having a jewel in her crown because she had a supposed prince as a Templar.
Yeah.
Like, that's why the Grand Cleric didn't want to let him go.
Yep.
And it just makes me so upset for him.
Yeah. But he's like, I just wanted you to know, I'm sorry I kept it from you, but it won't matter. Spoiler alert, it's going to matter. But anyway.
It's going to matter. Anyway.
When we get to the village, we find out that everyone's panicked. Apparently, every night at sundown, undead come from the castle and attack the village, killing people. And no one knows why.
No one's heard from the castle in days. When we show up, there's this guy named Thomas who's like, are you here to help us? And we're like, we don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, people are fighting and they're dying and nobody knows what it is. So Thomas brings us to speak to my guy, Ban Tegan.
Yep. He notices how capable we are and is like, you know what? You should talk to the person in charge. You probably can help. And brings us to Ban Tegan, who, after some conversation and Alistair kind of doing the whole pointing to his face thing, Ban recognizes Alistair and is very happy to see him and kind of gives us the lowdown on the situation, that the undead is coming from the castle. They can't reach Arl Eamon. They can't reach anyone in the castle, the servants. No knights in the castle either. There are some knights who were sent on a mission who came back, who are still able to help, but otherwise the rest of Arl Eamon's knights are nowhere to be found as well, and they don't know what's happening.
One thing that we have to make sure that we say is that Ban Tegan does not believe a goddamn word that comes out of Logain's mouth.
Yes, he's on our side. The minute we say that we are the wardens, he's like, thank God you're here, is really welcoming to us because he does not believe Logain at all.
He's also really flirtatious with me.
Not with me, clearly straight.
Yeah.
Or not into dwarves.
Not true. It's just that he's straight.
Okay.
Because I flirted with him as a dwarf. And he's totally down.
Okay. Noted.
But, like, he says things like, if we've met under different circumstances.
Amazing.
And just, like, fantastic. I love him. I love his little braid.
Yeah.
But yes, so Ban Tegan tells us that we should talk to Murdoch, the mayor, and Sir Perth, who is one of the knights who came back from the quest for the Urn of Sacred Ashes. So all the knights were sent out to look for the urn because Arl Eamon became ill. So that's why there are no knights, because they were all sent away. Some of them came back to find out that nobody could get in to the castle and, like, all this shit was going down. So there's a couple of people we can talk to before we get to Murdoch. There's this woman named Jetta. Did you talk to her?
Yes, who's looking for her little brother?
No, her husband and son.
Oh, no, I don't think I spoke to Jetta then.
You're thinking Caitlin.
Yes.
Jetta was just like hanging around. So I spoke to her, and you find out like earlier in the game. I don't even know when.
Oh no, I
found
remember.
this out.
Yeah, I did talk to her, right? Because you get to tell her that unfortunately,
they're dead.
That they're dead. Yeah.
So like, I don't even remember when I talked to her or when I found this information out.
Yeah.
And then Caitlin, who is looking for a little brother, she's really upset. Her mother was dragged away by some of the monsters. And her little brother Bevan ran off. So I say that I'll look for him.
Yeah. Once we get outside, we can pretty much talk to Mayor Murdoch right away. I'm a little wistful because, of course, Mayor Murdoch is voiced by the same voice actor who voiced Saeed, who had passed away a little while ago. And so it was fun to hear his voice again. I like this voice actor. He's good at playing gruff, like rough and tough characters.
No wonder he said, I didn't think they made women Grey Wardens.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
At least he's consistent with Saeed.
Yeah. Though Murdoch has two different voices. Did you notice this?
No.
No, he has two different voices. He has the growly, gruff Zaid voice.
Yeah.
And then he has like a little bit more of a clear, like gentleman voice.
I didn't get that. I just kept hearing the Zaid
I'll
voice.
find a clip and I'll play it for you. But like there were two different voices going on. And I'm like, this is driving me bonkers. What is happening?
Maybe they had to do additional line reads. I don't know.
Maybe. So we have to talk to the blacksmith to get him to do some repairs, and we have to go talk to a dwarf named Dwin.
Yep.
And see if he'll join us.
Yep.
And as we're walking around, Leliana is trying to convince Alistair that he's the rightful king.
Amazing.
And Alistair is like, please
stop.
Make it stop.
Just no more.
My poor boy. So, Caitlin's home. Bevan is hiding in a cupboard.
Yep.
You have an opportunity to trick Bevan out of his inheritance, which is an old sword that used to belong to his grandfather.
Yeah, I don't even
be a dragon slayer.
Yeah, I don't even get to that. I try and convince him, and then he's like, "I'm not telling you," and runs off, and then goes back to his sister.
You really need to up your persuasion.
I have since, but we'll get to that.
I could have gotten it from him if I really wanted to, but this is his inheritance.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take this small boy's inheritance. He'll need it someday. He's gonna grow up. He's gonna like become a warrior. Like he should keep his sword. So I just was like, go back to your sister. Dwin, how did you deal with Dwin?
I paid him. I sent
Really?
Yeah. I tried to convince him again. My persuade wasn't high enough, and I didn't want to intimidate him because I'm not trying to be that kind of person. I'm not trying to like just threaten people to do whatever I want. We'll get to more of that when we talk about Sir Perth. But like to get him on our side, he's like, I'm not going to do it, and he wouldn't do it for anything. And then I finally said, "What if I give you money? Would you just take money?" And he's like, "Yes." And so he asked for 100 silver. I gave it to him, and then he was like, "Fine, I'll do it."
Oh, that's really cheap.
He was like, "I don't have to like it, blah blah blah," and then went and did it. I think it was 100 silver. I don't 100 remember.
Silver is really cheap. That is 1 gold.
Yes, it is correct. It is 1 gold. It was either that or maybe it was 10, or maybe it was like 10 gold. I don't remember what it was, but it was not.
Oh, 10 gold's really expensive.
Like it was some number that wasn't too difficult for me to spend, so I spent it.
Yeah, no, that's valid. Did you break open the lock? Or
I
picked the lock?
I couldn't. My lock picking wasn't high enough. I was very surprised because they kept putting points in it. So I kicked in the door instead.
Okay, I did the same thing. And I intimidated him because fuck this guy.
Fair enough.
Everybody outside is dying. You are a soldier, a warrior. You have 2 other warriors in here with you. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Fortify. Fortify, my man. So I intimidated him because, like, you know what? I don't have fucking time for you.
Fair enough.
I'm a Grey Warden. I'm a mage. I will fuck your shit up. Go outside.
Yeah.
I have become a little more aggressive.
I've noticed.
In my old age.
It's fine. I mean, I'll probably ebb and flow with it, but, like, yeah. I didn't threaten this fellow dwarf. I did try and be like, "Hey, we're dwarves. Come on, help him." And he didn't care about that either. He's like, "I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter."
The blacksmith.
Yeah, so the blacksmith has been drinking himself into a stupor because his daughter got dragged off. He's convinced that she's dead, but wants someone to go look for her, and no one will. And so if we agree to go look for her, he will then start repairing armor and helping people defend the town, which I convince him to do and agree to go get his daughter. Unfortunately, I think I forgot to actually look for her, but we'll get to that.
No.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see.
You fucked up.
I did. But we'll get to that. That's like another episode. We won't get to that today.
This poor guy is so defeated.
So sad.
I persuaded him to let me in, and I agreed to look for Valena, so that way he'll do the repairs. Sten thinks that we won't keep this promise, and he disapproves of me making it.
Mm-hmm. Everyone approved of it. Morgan didn't. Morgan's like, so are we just going to help everybody in this town? Every little detail? Yes, Morgan, we are.
We're completionists, baby. So yeah, that's Murdoch done. Sir Perth.
So we meet Sir Perth. He was one of the men helping to look for the sacred ashes. They came back, couldn't get in the castle, so now they're trying to help defend the town. He mentions that morale is low and that a blessing from the Maker or some kind of support from the I can't remember the name of the religious position for the mother, the revered mother
the revered mother
in the town would really help, because he's convinced that she has some magical ability of some kind to like bless them and give them the support they need. So we're sent to go talk to her.
I don't think he's necessarily convinced that she has some ability. I think he is very aware of her limitations. He's just looking for something that's going to give his soldiers that extra edge of belief.
Yeah, I think it's less that he believes, you're right. It's more that, but he believes that the soldiers believe. He knows that they want something. Something like that would help them.
Right. If you're a fan of 911, like I am, there is an episode about jinxes, and when they try and get Bobby to talk about what he believes, he says, it doesn't matter what I believe, what matters is what you believe, because when you guys are on edge about jinxes, then that fucks up the entire day. So,
okay.
Everybody watch 911 and tell me what you think about it, because I think it's really good.
Okay. I've not seen it, but I'll take your word for it.
It's so good, Matt.
Anyway, so we go to the revered mother, and this is an opportunity. I could have threatened another old woman, but I did not.
Oh my God.
I did not. I didn't. I distinctly did not. But we try and convince her to do something for them, and she
Grey Warden, the enemy of little old ladies everywhere.
I didn't do it. But you can try and convince her. I was unsuccessful, and she just says it's beyond her power. She won't make a promise that's not real. She won't lie to these soldiers. Which at one point I'm like, come on, what do they know? It'll be fine. She won't do it. So I wasn't able to get her to do anything and had to go back to Sir Perth and tell him, sorry, couldn't do anything.
Man, so many people must have died.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was able to persuade her, and I did, because you know what? Like, it's not going to hurt anybody for them to, like, feel more confident in themselves.
Right.
Like, this is going to give them that extra boost of confidence. It's not going to convince them that they're actually protected by the Maker. It's just going to, like, make them feel more secure. It's like having a lucky charm. Like, it's all magic bullshit. Just give me the stuff.
Yeah.
So I convinced her, and I gave it to Sir Perth. Liliana was pissed.
Yeah, because you're pretty much asking her to lie.
-5.
Yeah, I didn't get to that because I wasn't able to convince her. Liliana does try to get her to, like, talk to them, but it ends up not working.
I better buy some presents soon is what I'm figuring out.
I have so many gifts already because I can pick so many locks.
I have a lot of gifts that I need to give out. That's for, like, 2 episodes from now.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, sundown.
Yeah, now we have to actually do the defense of the village. It's chaotic. It's a pain in the ass, especially as a ranged attacker. It's like every time I turn around, something else is beating on me because Alistair's off elsewhere tanking. But all in all, it was fine. Comparatively to the dungeons we've done before, it's more of that, right? We fight waves of undead until it ends. Then a soldier comes running saying, we need help. And then you follow him and fight some more undead.
Fight more. Yeah, it's fine.
And then it ends. And then you get a casualty list, essentially. They talk about who we lost in the battle. I didn't
lose anybody.
I lost Mayor Murdoch. The mayor did not survive. but Sir Perth did, and many of the townspeople, and Van Tegan, of course. I don't think he can die.
No, I don't think so. You need him.
Yeah, but I think you can lose the knights in Sir Perth if you don't do enough. But still, yet we were successful, and with that success, Van Tegan suggests that we use this moment to try and get into the castle to try and find out what exactly is going on. We've beaten them back enough that we might be able to actually get inside.
And as we're making this plan, who should appear but the Arlessa herself,
Correct.
Isolde.
Correct.
She's alive. She wants to take Tegan back into the castle with her by himself, no one else. She switches her story here. She says, like, oh, I waited until he was distracted and I ran away. And I have to bring you back with me. And then when we're questioning her, she's like, the demon only let me come because I said I was going to bring you back. And I could not call her out on it. And I want to be like, interesting.
Yeah. Also, Alistair can get her attention, and like the immediate switch to being annoyed when she sees that Alistair is here, like without hesitation.
Also, one thing that I really dislike about, this is a criticism of Dragon Age's character design while also being aware of the fact that they had limitations. Like, I get it. There are limitations on design. This woman looks like she's Alistair's age.
Yeah.
This woman does not look like she is a stepmother figure to Alistair.
Yeah.
And Arl Eamon actually looks like an old man. So, like, you could have made her look like an older woman.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be 20-something or 50-something. There is an in-between. So, it's just a little criticism that I have here. But I understand that, like, you have limitations when it comes to design. You can only design so many things. I get it. But also, it, like, really fucks up my suspension of disbelief when I look at this woman who looks like she's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Who is supposed to have been a cruel, wicked stepmother to Alistair, who also looks like he's 20 years old.
Right. Everyone pretty much looks the same age all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, even Wynn doesn't look much older than everyone else. She has white hair, but, like, facially she doesn't look that old.
Yeah. Like, my character also has white hair because it was the only unnatural option for me. So, like, Wynn and I could be sisters.
Yeah. But anyway, so we hear the story, and of course we pretty much say to Van Tegan, this is a bad idea.
I say, you're gonna get killed.
Yeah, this is a bad idea. And he's like, we have to do this. I'm going, but here's my signet ring. There's a secret passage in the windmill. You can get into the castle through there. Come save me.
Yeah. And also she's blaming some mage for everything that happened.
Right, which also sounds fishy because it's kind of not connected to the rest of the story.
And, like, I think she's an idiot. I hate her so much because she could have just told us all the truth straight up. And, like, we would have walked in knowing what was going on.
Right. But at this point, also, we don't know that it's not the truth. So
I just hate her. So Tegan is planning to be a distraction so we can sneak in. And he also says that no matter what, Eamon is the priority. No one else. Not even Connor, not Isolde.
Yeah. And to just make sure also that once we're in, we should try and open the gate because he's going to have Sir Perth waiting to come in and help back us up.
Yeah. Okay. So Liliana and Sten just really don't like anything I do.
Yeah, Liliana, it doesn't love
They're really judgy.
Yeah. Morgan is having a field day. She's loving this. Chaos, disarray, annoyance. It's all her favorite.
So once we go into the secret passage, we end up in the Redcliffe dungeon. And someone is actually being held in the dungeon.
Yes, we encounter Jawan, who is the mage brought in to tutor Connor.
Also my old bestie.
Oh, right. In your backstory. So you know him. So your interaction is going to be a little different. For me, we talk to him. He confesses to having poisoned Arl Eamon, but had nothing to do with the demon. That the demon came from elsewhere. He was genuinely trying to tutor Connor while still poisoning Arl Eamon. We found out that he was hired by Loghain and Loghain's men to do this, which we're upset about. But Morgan comes to the defense of Jawan. Morgan thinks that it's unfair that he's being imprisoned. Even if he did do this bad thing, to leave him here to die to the demons is not fair. He should be let go or killed. He shouldn't be left here, which Joanne doesn't love the killed part. But
which is also like Morgan's MO. She doesn't like to see people in prison. She's like, either free them or kill them. Like, no prison.
Make a decision.
No prison for anyone.
Like,
on the one hand, I'm so happy that you would like to abolish the prison system. On the other hand, I don't love that one of your options is kill them.
Yeah. Too chaotic. But you can talk to Jawan, and after Jawan, like, sincerely confesses that he just wants to make it right. Like, he didn't summon the demon, but he might be able to help get rid of it. But he just doesn't want to die here, and he feels bad that it went down the way it did. He was trying to make some money. He was trying to get his freedom. Logain had guaranteed him freedom from the people pursuing him for being a blood mage, find out, the circle. And so eventually I agree to let him out. But I agree to let him out, but I say you have to come with us. You cannot run. You cannot leave. If you really mean it, if you really are going to make things better, then you have to come with us. He's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to go with you. I'll just wait here. He's like, nope.
Right?
It's like,
that makes me so angry. You're like, I want to make things right, but not if it means I'll die.
Because I'm a coward.
So I told him, like, beggars can't be choosers. Either you come with me or you stay here. And he's like, I will stay here then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, he agrees to stay. But how did your conversation go since you knew Jawan?
I want to say it was a little more empathetic.
Yeah.
Because, like, how did you get yourself into this situation? Like, what happened here? I have opinions about Logain's involvement that didn't really start shaping up until much later. I'll talk about my opinions in the next episode, but let's just put a pin in Logain's involvement here.
Okay.
And remind ourselves in our next episode to talk about Logain. But yeah, like, you laid it all out. Joan was forced to poison Arl Eamon by Logain. And yeah, I told him, like, either you come with me or you stay here, and he decided to stay. And, you know, I don't feel so bad leaving him there because I know he's not going to die, because I'm going to kill every single thing between me and Tegan.
Yep.
So at least I know that he's safe because he's locked up and he's not going to go anywhere, and nothing's going to hurt him because I'm going to kill everything. So, yeah. So then we just fight our way through this castle. I have no interest in talking about every single little interaction that we have, and all the loot that we find. Castle's kind of a maze.
Yeah, and then when we get to the courtyard, we can open the front gate after fighting a mini boss to let the knights in to back us up when we get into the throne room.
I do want to say, I did find Velena.
Yeah, I did not. I didn't even look. I forgot. Because the quest log sucks.
The quest log is bad. So did you open the gate for Sir Perth?
I did, yes.
I did as well. Did you choose for all of us to go inside?
Yes.
Okay, I did that too. It just seems obvious. Like, why would I say no?
You should wait.
I'll go in by myself.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
You should wait here.
Yeah.
Just doesn't really make narrative sense. Like, yeah, of course, let's all go inside, because, like, we don't know what's inside.
What's inside is Van Tegan dancing.
And acting like a clown.
It's very strange.
Connor is so clearly possessed.
Yeah.
Like, I've never met the boy, and I can tell that he's possessed.
Yes.
And Isolde is talking to him like, oh, my little boy. Like, Connor, what are you doing? Like, girl, you have to know.
Yeah.
You have to know that he is possessed. How can you not know?
Do you think she doesn't know? I think she does. She's just covering for him because she loves him and she's scared.
I think that it's not that she doesn't know, it's that she doesn't want to believe it.
Well, right.
And she wants to believe that, like, Connor can hear her.
Yeah, well, she does say that, yeah.
If she keeps, like, acting like it is Connor will break through. I think that's what she thinks. But no. Sweetie, no. So we find out that the demon is keeping Eamon alive for Connor. That's what brought the demon in.
Yes.
Because Connor was afraid for his father, which, valid. This is Joanne's fault. But, like, it's Logain's fault.
Yeah.
So we get the impression that Connor is fighting the demon, but the demon sicks everyone on us, and we have to fight this entire room full of people, including Van Tegan.
Yep.
Fortunately, we don't kill him.
Yeah, thankfully, even though we defeat him, we don't kill him, thank God, because that's what I was afraid of. But he's okay. Yeah. Everyone else is dead, but he's okay. And then Joanne arrives to let us know that he wants to help. Of course, Isolde is very upset. And we're like, look, you have no experience with what you're doing. You're just acquiescing. We need to take action. And Jawan wants to help. And Jawan tells us that there is a ritual where we can go inside the Fade to confront this demon. But the only way he can do it, because he's a blood mage, is at the death of someone else. He can take the life force from someone else to create this portal to go in. And I'm sure you did the same, but I don't know. My warden was like, there has to be another way. It can't just be blood magic.
So because my warden is a mage, my warden was like, there is another way.
Yeah.
With enough mages and power, we could do it.
Yeah, and Juan...
We don't need to do blood magic.
Juan is the one who tells us. He's like, yes, there is an... Because, something I forgot to mention is once blood magic is brought up, Isolde does volunteer to sacrifice herself immediately.
Yeah, she does. She, leaps at it because she wants to rescue her son. Which, valid. Good maternal instinct. I respect that. The demon needs to be destroyed, and I'm not about to kill a child. If I can avoid it, I'm not going to kill a kid.
Yeah.
So because I know that we have another option, I choose not to go with the blood magic route.
Same. Also, Ban Tegan is like, you're an idiot. We can't kill you to save him. The whole point is for the family to live on together, right?
Right. Tegan doesn't want Arl Eamon to wake up and find out that his wife is dead.
And so you can decide to instead go get the help of the mages, because Alistair reminds us we do have a treaty for the mages and want the mages' help anyway with the blight. So we might as well go see if they can also help with this. And Bantigan says that is a good idea, but we're short on time. This could get worse, but Juwan volunteers to stay and help kind of stem the tide until you come back with the mages.
So, yeah, that is what we decide to do.
Yep. So, we both made if you decide to do the blood magic ritual, you sacrifice Isolde and resolve it here. Isolde will die, but you'll be able to go in and save Connor, but we're going a different route. But we're going a different route.
Unless.
And so now we have to decide what to do next.
I think we're in agreement that we're going to go to Lake Calenhad.
Yeah, we have a bunch of options, but we're going to just do the Mage Tower because we were probably going to do that next anyway. And also, it just makes sense for closing the loop on Redcliffe. So for the next episode, make sure you do Lake Calenhad and the Tower of Mages.
Yeah. It's just so much content, man.
It is. It's going to be a lot, but
so much content.
But I feel like we'll be okay.
All right.
I remember it being a lot of fun, so I feel like it'll be fine.
Yeah?
What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen?
Anyway, so yeah.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
So go do mage stuff, and we will see you in the next episode. But now, let's wrap this
mage
one up.
Mage rights.
Yeah, mage rights. Mage rights are human... Well, no, mage rights are people's rights. Beings' rights. I don't know. I got nothing.
That's true.
Because it's not just human rights, because it's not just humans.
You're correct.
Yeah.
If you like what you heard here, please follow us on social media. We're at ReignitePod on Twitter and Instagram, facebook.com/reignitepod, or you can send us an email at reignitepod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at FrankieBWrites and at DJ_Stormageddon. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcatcher if you can. It helps us get seen so other people can find us.
We're also members of the Certain Point of View podcast network. Visit certainpva.com for more nerdy podcasts, each with a unique point of view. You can also find a permanent invite link to our Discord server on the website and join in the conversation. You can also find links to rate and review us and to join the Discord in our show notes. So if you don't want to go search in the web, you can just click on the show notes of the episode you're listening to right now and find all that info.
For personal plugs, I don't have anything, but I do have good news. I passed my initial assessment with aplomb.
Yeah! I don't know what that means, but I'm excited for you.
For anyone who doesn't know what that means that I had a board of people check in on my work, decide that I'm on a good path. They asked me some insightful questions. I answered those questions. They gave me a little bit of criticism, which was very welcome and very useful. And they also said a lot of nice things about me.
Hell yeah.
One of my examiners said, and I quote, "While reading your sample, I had a huge problem." Cue heart attack here. I was so caught up in reading it that by the time I got to the end, I hadn't written down any questions.
That's amazing.
So that made me feel really good. So yeah, if anybody is wondering, does Frankie think that this program is worth it? Yes. So far, yes.
Good. That's good.
So far, yes. If you would like to congratulate me, send me some money.
Exactly. Buy Frankie a coffee.
Buy me a coffee. That's it for me.
For me, I am still, as always, promoting the Fun and Games Patreon, patreon.com/funandgamespod. Also, just generally, check out my other podcasts, Screen Snark, which I do with the incredible Rachel Quirky Shank, Fun and Games, the aforementioned podcast with one and only Jeff Moonen, and then I also do an interview series on my own called CPOV Autographs, all worth checking out, all available at certainpov.com, and all available on your podcast platform of choice. If you want to know more about them and any of the other things I do, you can just go to djstormageddon.com. Literally links to all of that stuff and more is right there. We also have a brand new Fun and Games mug that is on my merch store. So if you want a new mug, buy a Fun and Games mug.
I like your mug.
Thanks.
It's
Shucks.
a good mug.
Great. We'd like to thank Carter's husband for developing more amazing t-shirt designs that you can find over at certainpov.com or on the Certain POV Teespring.
We'd like to thank Radic Wade and Echoes of Oblivion for our theme music.
And we'd like to thank Red Spinks for our brand new logo. To see more of his work, you can go to Chaos Does Art on Instagram.
I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon. Remember, Grey Wardens.
In war, victory.
In peace, vigilance.
In death, sacrifice. Okay, bye-bye!
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun. Whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen,
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.